I run a successful sales strategy and consulting company. And a lot of people, when they hear consulting, are less than thrilled at times. But for me, when I started the company 7 years ago, I started it with the idea that we could come in and really bridge the gap between strategy and tactics. That there's no shortage of organizations that are talking about how to build a more repeatable revenue engine, whether that's top of the funnel, middle funnel, or account growth, or how to build out a repeatable sales organization, now more and more bleeding into marketing. But the gap that I saw was that need to have a partner in the trenches with you, like getting the work done or driving the project home. And so really what we do is specialize with working with really two types of organizations that are growing at fairly consistent rates or are trying to get more scalability out of their organization, even if they're not growing extremely fast, or organizations that are larger that are looking to modernize. They might have been doing things the same way for 10 years or 7 years or 5 years. And now they're saying, look, we're seeing diminishing returns. We're looking for new ways to allocate our budgets or new efficiencies. And so that's really, what we come to bear is our consultants are all practitioners, mix of sales operations, sales enablement, marketing leaders. And, we partner to really help leaders internally, get through, various initiatives that are both strategic and tactical. Sales used to just be, grinded out, right? It was email call. And that's just, when it comes to the, video, LinkedIn, et cetera, just the modern engagement strategy, how you should be engaging with your customers has evolved. And therefore, if you as a sales organization don't have an understanding of what nurturing looks like, or some of these other activities like a marketing organization does, and on the flip side, if you're a marketing organization that's used to just supporting sales from afar, you get a massive disconnect. It's why sales and marketing have so much difficulty aligning in the first place, is that they don't really have this kind of blend. And so we started as really a sales consultancy that's been pulled into this, kind of digital and social world because of the power, candidly, to start with, of LinkedIn. That LinkedIn, if you're in the B2B space, LinkedIn is a table stakes part of, most of your engagement strategy. And so that's really what that birthed out of. And, as we see LinkedIn continuing to grow, that continues to be a larger part of our strategy as well too. There's a couple of core strategies I think that I can kind of give you, and maybe a simple mantra, which is add, post, and engage. And so what I mean by that is, first is add. That as an individual or as a corporate page, little over, I think it's about a month now, LinkedIn actually released the functionality for that corporate pages can actually actively request people. And so they can request about 25 potential buyers every single 4 to 5 hours. So that's 50 to 60 buyers, 50 to 75 plus buyers that a corporate page can request every day, let alone your sales organization can request 100 plus each. So I think step one is you have to be proactive. Don't just think you're going to put out content and people are going to rush. So you have to have an adding buyers engagement strategy. So that's one. Two is you have to post content. That as a marketing organization, your job is not to censor. It's not to say don't post. It's to say, if you want to create engagement, don't just reshare this blog post. That gets no engagement. Don't reshare. Nobody cares about reshares, right? And LinkedIn's algorithm actually punishes you when you reshare a post. That's why it never gets any engagement. So make sure that you're empowering your team on, hey, how do you take a piece of content and just give your 2 cents from talking to buyers on it? So, that idea of posting. And then the third is just engaging in an authentic way, which means if you like an article, just comment about it. Don't say and we at xyz.io also sell that solution. And so, a lot of the plays that we run is, look, in a traditional sequence or, cadence, it can take 2 to 3 weeks to get someone to engage anyway. Well, what if instead your first 4 touch points were all LinkedIn? It was, research, connect, like or engage, maybe like or engage again. And then, then you produce a piece of content and you share that on a DM. Say, hey, John, I've enjoyed your content over the last 5 days. I thought this might be interesting for you. And then you kind of move into some of the emails and calls. So a lot of our clients were basically finding new ways to integrate LinkedIn, whether it's into the front, or the middle of their strategy, whereas before it kind of been the last step or more of a would like to have. So I think that's really kind of our mantra, that you have to be adding people, you have to be posting on a consistent basis, even twice a week's fine. And then you have to make sure that you're actually engaging with, your target audience. By long game, I mean like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. Like, oh my God, what if you just interacted with someone for 3 weeks? Like, whoa. Like, but the key is like, nobody's just put in the work. And then guess what? After 3 weeks, it all catches up, right? Because then you've got people that are in that week, the next week, the next week, the next week that you're actively engaging. I feel like we've just, as leaders in marketing and sales, we just pounded this now mentality into the ether. And now, obviously with everything that's happening, we're paying the piper. We've created a bunch of salespeople who they're not agile, they're not thinking like they're buyers, and they're really struggling right now. So I think that a lot of this, we're going to have kind of the next 2 months where we've got kind of a reckoning now where people are going to have to get buyer centric. They're going to have to think, okay, what's this person going through? And how can I help them, as opposed to like hit send all with like, first name, insert company name, insert random industry. It's not actually quite right. Insert job title. It's also actually not quite right. And then calling that personalization. Really, the advice we have is really this kind of concept of 3 buckets, that right now, every marketing and sales organization needs to have at least 3 buckets. The first is, and it could be that your product doesn't have anybody in the first bucket, which is like you sell into an industry that's doing really well. And trust me, my friends, there are industries that are doing quite well right now. In a lot of different sectors, and you solve an actual need versus a like slight improvement on something. So if you have bucket 1, it's kind of business as usual. Like, yeah, you have to acknowledge what's happening and the uncertainty, but you should be selling. There should be calls to action, et cetera. And then you have your second bucket, which is people that, maybe it's an industry that's just really, really difficult, or you just can't reposition your product to be applicable right now. And so then that's nurture. That's like, hey, let's catch up in 2 weeks. Here's some free value, whatever it is. And then you've got your third bucket. And this is the bucket where the real opportunity is. And I think 60+% of companies are in this bucket. You might be selling into an industry that's being affected, but your product is flexible enough that if you just reposition the whole way you think about it, it actually can be relevant now. So I'll give you an example. An hour ago, I was on a conversation with a company that does knowledge management software. I'm like, you don't sell knowledge management, you sell remote work content management now. Like right now, as a company, you have 200 people working remote. You have 200 different nodes of different things that are happening, and you have no centralized way to capture all of that information that's happening with that from a customer success standpoint. We solve that remote work problem, right? Same product, just changing the use case. I talked to an big office furniture company. I'm like, guys, this is amazing for you. They're like, Jake, what are you talking about? This is horrible. I'm like, do you know how many executives and senior level people are sitting in their loud ass houses or their completely unprofessional office, and they need those chairs that go like this that are soundproof? You should be reaching out to every single CEO and say, look, for $600, I can solve your 5-year-old problem. I can solve your and so I just feel like so many companies right now had put on their well, we have to be in wait and see mode, as opposed to I want us to see us to get more creative. I want because the use cases are there, but you maybe have to think outside of the box of what was or what was before. For us, we practice what we preach. So every single thing that I'm telling you now, if you go to my profile, if you go to my team's profiles, you'll see us talking and giving value. All of our cadences and sequences that we're running with our clients are 100% based on, look, here's value, here's value. Okay, is timing right? Maybe now timing's good. Or, hey, here's a little bit about what we do. I know times are uncertain. Happy to spend 20 minutes with you talking through it. So I think everything that we just talked about, we really try to institutionalize at our organization. So again, because I really believe too, the other trend is that the individuals within your organization, they can make a lot more noise than your corporate page. And so we invest very little time in our LinkedIn corporate page, and we quadruple down on getting everyone else comfortable. And because the voice is just so much louder, people want to hear from people. Yeah. So that's the high level, and so that's really what we try to do. I think what we're going to see is, I don't know. Well, how about this, man? I think it depends on how long this lasts, right? If we have a sharp rebound assistant, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're still in the beginning of it a little bit, but I think what we're going to have to see is that I'm just going to talk about the sales side and I'll come back to marketing. On the sales side, this whole idea of running 4 to 5 targeted sequences that are very buyer centric is here to stay, right? This concept is beyond here to stay. And so that idea that you're going to have to overinvest time, that this is maybe the big trend. If you are in sales now and you're onboarding new salespeople, you're going to now have to overinvest time into actually training them who your customers are and what they care about. I know that's such a crazy concept. Like, oh my God. And I think for marketers, it's the same thing. It's no longer can you put out a white paper about finance. I need you to put out 4 different versions of that white paper, one targeted at investment banks, one targeted at retail banks, one targeted at, and maybe you loop together finance and insurance. But like, I just feel like we're going to have to get more specific because consumer behavior has already demanded personalization at a level that B2B has nowhere near come close to. And so I think you're going to see us align to customer preferences and getting more specific, more than ever. Marketing is just going to have to be the catalyst for that. And I think also marketing, we're going to have to start to look for things outside of search. We're going to have to look for things outside of banner ads. I think organic LinkedIn right now is silly. It's like for the people that remember posted on Facebook in 2012, before the ads came in, like that is what organic LinkedIn is right now. I generated, this year it'll probably be closer to 15 million, but last year was 10 million plus impressions from my posts. That's $660,000 in free advertising from one human. As a company, we generated millions. And we're a small company, right? We're under 30 people. And so I think the companies that realize that organic LinkedIn posts right now act and behave like you can actually get traction and we stop treating it like a throwaway. I think those are companies that are going to do some real damage when they realize for the next couple of years, I don't see LinkedIn changing their algorithm. I think they're going to have to know how to communicate where their buyers are. And it just so happens if you're in B2B, there's a very high likelihood that your buyers are on LinkedIn. And so this whole idea of just throwing up random stuff and only your employees liking it, I think you just have to evolve past that. There's other things too, but I just feel like if you said, Jake, what's the lowest hanging fruit in marketing? I would say it's LinkedIn organic.